So hey students, this is Basavaraj Sir, your biology master teacher. Welcome to Vedantu NEET English students. In today's video, we'll be summarizing the entire chapter of your Morphology of Flowering Plants with the help of a mind map, including the examples where the questions will be actually asked. Starting off with the definition, that's going to be, what is the meaning of morphology? The meaning of morphology means the external features of the flowering plants. Those are your angiosperms. Now, what are these external features? The external features includes root, stem, leaf, flower, fruit, and seed. Starting off with the root now. What is a root? Now, students, remember, root is a structure which directly develops from the radicle. When the root is developing, initially it develops a primary root. Later on this primary root, there is development of lateral branches, that is called as secondary root. When this primary root is present along with the lateral branches, that mainly constitutes our taproot. So that is the meaning of taproot, which is mostly found in your dicots. Example given in your NCERT is mustard. Next is fibrous root. Now, what is fibrous root? Fibrous root is a type of root which develops from the base of the stem. That is a NEET PYQ. Again, a question arises, does the fibrous root, does it have primary root? The answer is yes. It will have primary root, but the primary root is short-lived. It is soon replaced by a group of roots. Then what is adventitious root? Very easy. It is a type of root which develops from any part of the plant other than the radicle. That is called as adventitious root. Example is grass and monstera. That is your root system. Students, next thing you need to understand is the regions of the root. If you notice the diagram which is given in your NCERT also, the entire root can be divided into three regions. The first region is called as region of meristematic activity. That is, in this region, the entire cells are continuously dividing, and the cells here actually have thin walls along with dense protoplast. And students, you need to notice one more thing here is the entire region of meristematic activity is covered by a cap-like structure called as root cap, thimble-like structure. Then we have region of elongation. Now, this region of elongation, cells are actually elongated here, and this region of elongation is responsible for the elongation of root. Then we have region of maturation, in which the root cells get matured, and on the epidermis of this region of maturation, we find the root hair. The next thing which you need to know is the modifications. That is, students, that is, a particular root has main or two or three functions. That is, it can provide anchorage. A particular root can provide absorption of minerals and water. It can also provide plant growth regulators. Let me know in the comment section which are those. But what is the modification here? Modification is that a particular root can become for storage. That is, if it is a taproot, storage. Example is carrot and turnip, as well as radish. Radish is not given anymore. Same storage. Example for adventitious root, the example is going to be sweet potato. Then we have for support. The support example which is given in your NCERT are two. One is called as prop roots, other one is called as stilt roots. Prop roots example is banyan tree, in which a particular roots comes down all the way from the tree, hanging roots. The stilt root example is going to be maize as well as sugarcane. But what is the stilt root, students? Stilt root is a root which develops from the base of a node, the lowermost node. The last one is going to be respiration. Very easy. Example is your rhizophora, which has a root called as pneumatophores. Now, this pneumatophores roots are very special because they are negatively geotropic. They arise all the way from the soil above the ground. Why? In search of oxygen. The next thing you need to know is the stem. Now, here you need to know the structure of stem first. That is, a particular structure of stem bears nodes and internodes. That is, this is a particular stem. On this stem, we'll have a line like this called as nodal region. Between the two nodes, this region is called as internodal region. And this particular nodal region, we can see the development of leaves. On the nodal region, we can see the development of leaves. Now, students, the next thing which you need to know about the stem is a particular stem will be herbaceous in your young stem, but later on the same stem can become woody in the case of dicots because of secondary growth. Now let's look at the modification of stem, that is for storage. Now what is storage modification of stem here? That is underground stem. Example is going to be potato, turmeric, ginger, colocasia, zamikand. For support, that is a particular axillary bud can modify itself, which is present in the stem, to develop supporting structure called as tendrils. Example very important again, that is watermelon, grapevine, pumpkin, cucumber. The next one is going to be protection. That is, a particular stem can develop thorn-like structure for protection against herbivores. Example is very simple, bougainvillea as well as citrus. Then we have vegetative propagation. That is a development of papules. That is, it is a type of asexual reproduction in which a particular plant is developing other than the sexual reproduction. Examples, let me know in the comment section what are the examples for vegetative propagation. Very important, especially runner, sucker, offset and everything. Then we have assimilation of food. Very interesting. That is, a particular stem can become photosynthetic, in which example is opentia, in which the stem is very flat and fleshy. The other example is when the stem can become very cylindrical, that is euphorbia. Then students, we need to understand the leaf now. That is, where does the leaf originate from? The first question. Students, remember, leaf originates from your Uncle Sam. That is shoot apical meristem. As the shoot apical meristem develops, it leaves in a acropedal succession. So as the stem is growing, leaves are generated in a acropedal succession, that is younger leaves at the top, older leaves at the bottom. But where do you actually find the leaf in a plant? That is, if you look at the structure of a stem, if this is a stem region, in this nodal region, we can see a development of a leaf at the nodal region. And this particular part is called as leaf axil, and the bud present in the leaf axil is called as axillary bud. Called as what? Axillary bud. Clear? The next thing you need to know about is the main parts of the leaf. That is, if you look at a proper leaf, again let me draw it for you. Students, if this is the leaf, it will have three main parts. That is, this is called as your leaf blade, also called as your lamina. Then we have petiole, that is the stalk of the leaf, and we also have the leaf base. This is called as your leaf base. Now students, this leaf base is very special. Why? Because leaf base can vary. Especially in the case of legumes, the leaf base can become swollen and we call it pulvinous leaf base. The same leaf base in the case of monocots can be different, called as sheathing leaf base, in which a particular leaf base can completely or partially cover the entire stem. The same leaf base can also have a leaf-like structure called as stipules. In this region, we can have a leaf-like structure called as stipules here. Two stipules. That is your complete main parts of the leaf. But if you look at the types of the leaf, that is simple leaf and compound leaf. Now what is the simple leaf, students? Very simple example. If you look at the simple leaf example, that is, this is going to be your simple leaf. This also is going to be your simple leaf. That is, the incisions, can you see these incisions are not touching the midrib. But if you look at a compound leaf, the incisions are touching the midrib in the case of your compound leaf. Example here is very important. That is, let me know in the comment section what are the examples of your pinnately compound leaf as well as palmately compound leaf. I will check the comments, students. The next thing which you need to understand here is the venation. That is parallel venation and reticulate venation. Parallel venation is mostly seen in the case of your monocots, where the veins are in a parallel direction. The reticulate venation. Reticulate venation is mainly seen in the case of your dicots, where the veins and veinlets form a complete network of mesh. Then next thing you need to understand here in the leaf is going to be phyllotaxy. That is, three different phyllotaxy we have your NCERT. Now what is this phyllotaxy? Let me explain you with a simple diagram. Very simple phyllotaxy. That is, if you look at the alternate phyllotaxy, in the case of your alternate phyllotaxy, if this is a stem, this is a node, at each node you can find only one leaf. At each node you can only find one leaf. Example, very important, that is mustard, China rose and sunflower for alternate phyllotaxy. Then we have your opposite. In opposite phyllotaxy, again students, diagram is more important. Learn with the help of diagram. In opposite phyllotaxy, at each node in a stem, two leaves are produced at each stem. At each node, two leaves are produced in the opposite direction. Example is going to be guava and calotropis. Guava as well as calotropis. The last one is going to be world type of phyllotaxy. In world type of phyllotaxy, what happens is at a node, more than two leaves are arising at each node is called as world phyllotaxy. Example again, Allistonia. Very important. Allistonia is very important. Now that is the end of leaf. Before we go to the flower, let me tell you about the modification. The first type of modification in leaf is going to be tendril modification. In tendril modification, the example is going to be pea plant. All of you have noticed. The next one is going to be spine modification. Example is cactus. Next one is going to be phylloid modification. Now, what is this phylloid? In phylloid type of modification, a particular petiole can become photosynthetic. Example, Australian acacia. Next is bulb modification, in which a particular leaf can become fleshy and which is edible. Example, garlic and as well as your onion. Then we have pitcher plant, that is a leaf can become deadly. That is a particular leaf modification helps in killing insects. Example, pitcher plant and Venus flytrap. That is the end of leaf. Next thing we need to understand is the flower. Very, very important. That is, a flower is the reproductive unit of a plant. Yes, reproductive unit. If you look at a flower, there are four main whorls. That is, the outermost whorl is called as calyx. Then we have corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Before we go to the different whorls, let's understand the type of flowers. That is, we have flower based on the Meares condition. That is, in multiples of 3. If the floral appendage is present on multiples of 3, that is called as trimeres. If the floral appendages are found in the multiples of 4, it's called as tetrameres. Similarly, pentameres. Then we have something called as bractate and ebractate. Bractate condition is the condition in which we have a leaf-like structure present at the base of the leaf, base at the flower. That is bractate. If bract is present, it is bractate. If bract is absent, ebractate. But what is the function of bract? The main function of bract is protecting the flower in the bud stage. And the same bract is also green in color. It can also do a bit above photosynthesis. Then we have your actinomorphic and zygomorphic. That is, actinomorphic is also called as your radial symmetry. That is, a particular flower can be divided in any plane, called as actinomorphic. Example again very important. That is mustard, chili and datura. Then we have zygomorphic. Zygomorphic condition is also called as bilateral symmetry. Why? Because a particular flower can be divided into two equal halves in only one plane. Example again, pea, bean, gulmohar and cassia. We have one more thing which is not mentioned here is going to be asymmetric condition. Example is canna, where a flower cannot be divided in any plane at all. Then we have classification of flowers based on the position of calyx, corolla, androecium with respect to gynoecium on the thalamus. That's right. That is the definition of your hypogynous. In hypogynous condition, what happens? In hypogynous condition, a particular ovary is situated on the top. It is very superior on the top and rest of the floral appendages are below it. Example is very important. That is, a hero from China must have brinjal. That is, hypogynous, China rose, brinjal and mustard. Then we have perigynous. In perigynous condition, it's also called as half inferior condition. Example is going to be your plum, peach and roses. Then we have epigynous condition. Epigynous condition is called as inferior ovary, in which the ovary is completely enclosed by the thalamus and all the floral appendages are above the ovary. Example, very important again. Here was a question which is asked in your last PYQ, that is ray flowers of your sunflower. Other example is your cucumber. Now students, let's understand the floral appendages. That is, the first one is going to be your calyx, outermost one. Calyx is a group of sepals. When all of these sepals are fused together with the help of a glue, G for glue, G for gamo, that is called as gamosepalous. If all the sepals are completely free, it's called as polysepalous. The same goes for corolla. Corolla is a group of petals. Now, what is the function of petals? They look so beautiful. The main function of petals is to attract pollinators. Again, similarly, we have your polypetalous condition. That is, poly means free. Gamopetalous. Gamo means G for glue. Gamopetals are fused. Next one, we have the androecium condition. Here we have something called as anther and filament. If you look at the structure of androecium, it is divided into anther and filament. Now here we have different conditions. First one is your epipetalous condition. That is, a particular androecium is attached to the petal, fused to the petal. That is called as epipetalous condition. Now what if the androecium is attached to the perianth? That is called as epiphyllous condition. Then we have polyandrous condition. In polyandrous condition, a particular androeciums are completely free. They're not fused at all. Then we have monoadalphous condition. Monoadalphous means a particular number of stamens are completely fused in one single bundle. That is called as monoadalphous condition. Example is going to be China rose. Then we have diadalphous condition. That is, a particular group of stamens are arranged in two different bundles. Let me know the example. Let me know the example in the comment section. That is 9+1 condition. Where do you find it? Next one is going to be one more thing which is missing here is polyandrous condition, where particular fusion of stamens is happening in many different bundles. Example is citrus. Then we have your gynoecium. Students, remember, gynoecium consists of three main parts. That is stigma, style and ovary. That is ovary, which has ovules inside it. Style is a long slender filament through which the pollen tube travels. We have the stigma, which is the receptive stigma on which the particular pollen grain lands. Then we have classification of gynoecium called as apocarpous condition, in which the carpels are completely free. Example is going to be lotus and rose. We have syncarpous condition, in which a particular carpels are completely fused. Example is tomato. Then we have the placentation. Before we go to the placentation, you should also know what is aestivation. Now, what is aestivation? Aestivation is basically arrangement of petals or sepals with respect to each other. Examples, you need to know that. Recently, I made a video short on all the tricks to remember aestivation. So go check that out right now. Then we have placentation. That is arrangement of ovules. First one is called as your marginal placentation. MP, marginal, P. P is the example. Example is going to be allow China to leave, axillary, China rose, tomato and lemon. Then we have parietal placentation. What is parietal placentation? In which there is a formation of pores, rhapulum, right? That is parietal placentation. Example is parents are masters, argemone and mustard. Then we have free central placentation. Example is going to be dianthus and primrose. Then we have basal placentation, in which there is a large single ovary present at the bottom. Example is going to be marigold and sunflower. There it is, the entire chapter done, not it. We have the fruit now. Now fruit again develops from the ovary. Ripened ovary develops into fruit. Ovules develop into seed. Now particular fruit will have three main parts: epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. That is division of pericarp. Example is very important here. That is, in your NCERT, if you go right now, you have two main examples. That is coconut as well as mango. Both are examples of fruit called as drupe. The first point you need to remember about drupe is it develops from monocarpillary superior ovary. What is the difference? The main difference arises in the mesocarp. In the case of coconut, the mesocarp is fibrous. The same mesocarp in the case of your mango is fleshy. Remember that. In both the cases, the endocarp is stony. Remember, mangoes, you cannot eat the endocarp. Then we have the seed. Here, dicot seed, monocot seed, both are important. In dicot seed, we need to know the seed coat is mainly divided into two parts: testa and tegmen. Similarly, inside we have the embryo. Embryo acts as two parts. One is plumule, other one is radicle. Plumule develops into shoot, radicle develops into root. Apart from that, we need to know the monocot seed also. Now, what is there in monocot seed? There are three things which you remember in monocot seed. First, you need to know is what is aileron layer. That is, it is a layer which distinguishes your cotyledon as well as endosperm. Then what is the cotyledon called as here? That is called as scutellum. The next thing you need to know is the difference between coleorhiza and coleoptile. What is the trick? Remember, listen to me very carefully. That is coleoptile. P is there, it protects plumule. Coleorhiza, R is there, it protects your radicle. There it is, the entire chapter is done, students. Before we go, I want everyone to know the families. Students, there are new families has been added, so please learn the families. If you still have the problems with the families, let me know in the comment section about families. I will help you out with the form of shorts. Before we go, the last thing is going to be inflorescence. Very easy, all of you know. Inflorescence is the arrangement of leaf on a floral axis. That is, we have two types, racemose and cymose. In cymose, it is called as basipetal succession. That is, in cymose condition, the main axis terminates with a flower. And in basipetal condition, the older flowers are at the top, younger flowers at the bottom. The opposite goes for racemose, that is acropetal succession. In the case of racemose, the main axis continues to grow here, and it is acropetal succession. That is, younger flowers at the top, older flowers at the bottom. There it is, the entire chapter of your morphology with the help of almost every single example done and dusted. Students, remember the examples in this chapter, and this chapter is destined for you. So for most amazing videos, like the video, share the video, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel right now. And also let me know in the comment section which is the next chapter you need, and we will do it for you. Until next time.